Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to BoxBox F1 Fantasy. I'm Quinton and I am excited. Formula 1 Fantasy is live for 2026 and we are ready to play. What has changed from last year? How does one play? I will cover all that very quickly in this video so you know where to get started and so you know everything you need to know before Melbourne starts next week. Let's get into it. First of all, if you are a new player to F1 Fantasy, welcome. You're in for a lot of fun and a lot of frustration as well, because this is a fantasy game unlike any other. Now, for a small recap, how does it work? You get $100 million to choose 5 drivers and 2 car teams. We also call them constructors. For example, I'll just throw up my initial team here on screen now. So we've got Charles Leclerc, Oliver Bearman, Esteban Ocon, Valtteri Bottas, Kimi Antonelli, and then for my constructors or my teams, I've got Ferrari and Haas F1 team. Now you can have up to 3 teams like this with a little bit of split strategy if you want, but basically you have $100 million and you can choose anyone you want within that budget. Now, for this year, because we are going into a whole new set of regulations, car reliability is a very important consideration when choosing your team. So initially, you want to be focusing on building your budget. How does that work? Well, you've got your $100 million to start with, right? You've got your drivers in your team, and then based on how they perform in the actual race, your driver increases or decreases in value. And the same goes for your constructors. And from one race weekend to the next, you can have 2 free transfers. Next, after Melbourne, we've got the China Grand Prix. So let's say I want to change my team up a little bit from this one. What I'd be able to do is, for example, take out Oliver Bearman and put in another driver, let's say Arvid Lundblad. I could take out Bottas and put in Perez, for example. And I can do those without any penalty. I've got 2 free transfers. Now, let's say that I made 3 transfers. Then I would take a minus 10. That is a lot, and avoid this as much as you can. An extra transfer, besides your 2 free transfers each week, is a minus 10. That being said, you can roll over a free transfer from one week to another. Let's say I've got this team in Australia, and then I make 1 change to the team when I get to China. The following China, I think it's the Japanese Grand Prix, then I will have 3 free transfers to use at Japan. And 3 is the max free transfers you can accumulate, so you can't just build up an infinite number of transfers, unfortunately, but you get the idea. Now, the next thing to know. So, drivers score based on how they perform in qualifying. That is the position in which they qualified to start the race in. And then, of course, they also score points based on their finishing position in the race. If they get the driver of the day, which is voted by the public, they get extra points. If they set the fastest lap of the day, they get extra points. And for constructors, they also have some more scoring opportunities like fastest pit stop bonuses, and also having both drivers into Q2 and Q3, I believe. I'll double check that, and I'll put out a dedicated video to explaining every way that you can score. Now, that being said, we've got some big changes from last year. Sprint DNF, thank goodness, is not minus 20 anymore. It is now minus 10. Now this is a huge change from before. Before, if in a sprint race, our driver DNFs, gets into an incident or whatever, we'd lose 20 points. 20 points. Now it's minus 10, which is a big improvement in my opinion. One thing that I would have loved to see as well is have this in the race as well. Or at least change it to minus 15 or something, because minus 20 is such a big hit on your team. It can absolutely ruin your ranking, especially if you have double DNF. If you double up on your drivers in the same team, you're in for a world of pain. Now, another important change is what I've mentioned before, about the transfers. So, before, let's say I had driver 1 in my team. I take him out, put driver 2 in. But that would count as one transfer already. Now, let's say I change my mind and want to put driver 1 back in. So, take driver 2 out and put driver 1 back in. That would count as 2 transfers in the past. That is no more, which I think is a brilliant change, which makes a lot of sense. So let's say you're unsure if you're going to be able to make the deadline before qualifying, so you can set up your team early, lock in a few transfers, and then if you have time later to make some changes, you can. So this is a big step up in F1 Fantasy, so good job, developers. But please, minus 10 for DNFs in normal races too. Thank you. Another thing that I'm extremely happy to see is that all 3 of the teams we can make are eligible for the Global League prizes. Before, only your team 1, the first team you create, only that one was automatically entered into the Global Fantasy League. And that's it. Now, you can use all 3 of your teams in there. That means you can be very strategic, split your strategies each week, split it across different constructors, different setups, different risk profiles, and that gives you a much better chance of actually winning the Formula One Fantasy Global League, which, I'll be honest, I'm going for the win. I probably won't get it, but I'm going to do my darnest to win that VIP F1 experience. So beat me to it if you can. Now, that being said, another big change that I didn't put here on the little infographic is a lower price floor and a higher price cap. We've not actually seen a price cap on the upside before, but in the past, the minimum price a driver could reach was $4.5 million. So they perform badly, they drop, and when they hit 4.5, they pause, they stop. Of course, if they improve the performance, they'll go up again. But this year, it goes down to 3 million. I'm very curious to see how this plays out, because it will allow very interesting teams. Because if you've got a driver available for 3 million, you could probably stuff in 2 premium constructors, 2 premium drivers, maybe even 3, and have this little 3 million just, as a fill out the team, I have a feeling Aston Martin that's gonna be the only reason Aston Martin is ever in my team this season, is if Lance Stroll gets to 3 million. Yeah, anyway. Now, I hope that clears things up a little bit. I hope that gets you excited for this season. Tell me, what do you think? What is your early team looking like? Who are you setting as a must-have? And if you can, join my fantasy league. See if you can beat me. And thank you for watching. I'll be putting out videos more regularly as we ramp up to the season, to the first race. I'll be trying to put out a team selection guideline video, another video explaining more about how the chips work, when would be strategic moments to play them, and so on. But this was your crash course. Welcome to F1 Fantasy if this is your first year. If this is not your first year playing, welcome back. See if you can beat me. One last thing before I sign off. I must give a big shout out to these F1 Fantasy and F1 content creators in general. I've been following them for a while now. They are absolutely the OGs in the space, and I just want to give out credit where credit is due to them for putting out such fantastic content. And yeah, please give them a follow. Be sure to listen to their advice. I learned a lot from them, and I hope to be able to add my 2 cents worth to their own opinions and contributions to the community. So if you like this content and want to see more, please like and subscribe, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you next time. May the odds be ever in your favor. Until next time, I'm Quentin from BoxBox F1 Fantasy.